Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for agreeing to do this with me. I know,
Thank you for asking me.
yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you about this. And actually, like, I started to talk to some of my friends who are also artists, and I was telling them that I was going to talk to you, and they were really excited. So I know people are like, want to hear from you, want to hear about these specific questions. So before we dive into that, though, I wanted to just kind of give you a little introduction. I can't actually even remember like how we what
I
do you
can't either.
remember?
I was trying to think.
Okay.
I can't remember either how we can. Well, I know I needed a website, so
Yeah.
clearly I was impressed with your website. So I think that's how we
Okay,
connect.
so maybe you found me online then. I think
I
that's
think I did.
okay. So we're both, you're Phoenixville-Kimberton area. Yep. And then
Yes.
I'm on the other side of Phoenixville and Oaks. And we just started working together on your brand. And obviously you do interior design. And it was so much fun because there's a lot of like parallels between our industries, like me as a brand designer, you as an interior designer. And so going through that whole process of like working on your brand was really fun, but also like challenging for me because you're a visionary and you have like really good style and good taste and everything. So I had to like make sure that that was something that translated your vision in the whole brand and website and all that. So
No, no, you did a wonderful job. Obviously, it was how many years? Maybe 3, 4 years ago at this point.
yeah, yeah.
Has it been that long? I don't
I
know.
I don't know. I feel like we've been in like a time warp in
Yeah.
some ways. And time has just kind of like flown by in the last 4 years.
Yeah, it feels like I feel like it's not it doesn't feel that long, but I think it is that long. But I remember when I really committed to needing to upgrade my website. And when I found your website,
Mhm.
it just clicked automatically. And I think also probably because you do print design and textile design, and that's really what I went to school for, not interiors.
Yeah.
So when I saw all of your prints and all of your artwork, and then also saw that you did web design and branding and logos, I was like, this is it. And obviously it worked out really well.
That's awesome. So I
Yeah.
love that because I like to lean into passion projects. And sometimes that means that I'm working on things like my marketing plan is really like lean into passion projects and hopefully attract people who also appreciate those things.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it really works out. Like I get to work with the most awesome people. So yeah, you're one of them. And
Oh,
I'm so excited about it. Okay.
thank
Well,
you. I feel the same.
yeah, so let's hear a little bit about your journey first, as because of the fact that you also kind of live into doing what you're passionate about. And like just tell me a little bit about how you said you started as a textile designer. Um
Well, I never did it professionally. I went to school for it.
okay.
And I did always love interior design, which is kind of funny that I actually did not go to school for that. Um, but when I graduated, I had lived in California for a very short time, but my aunt was doing interior design there. And I feel like I've always loved it from when I was little, even though I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And then I helped her for a little bit, just for those few 6 months. Um, so I always had an interest in it. And when I graduated college, I interviewed for interior design jobs, partially because I really didn't want to move to do textile design to New York or North Carolina. Probably should have thought about that beforehand, but I really didn't. I was just kind of doing what going to school for what I loved. Um, and then was hired by like the best woman ever, who had in Phoenixville an interior design firm.
Oh,
She
wow.
needed some help. So she hired me right out of college. Um, she didn't, it's so funny. It just kind of all worked because she didn't realize that I did not go to school for interior design. We met at the interview.
Mhm.
It was kind of like an instant connection.
Yeah.
And she hired me. And then when I got there, she was like, she knows nothing about interior design because her background's
Oh no.
textile design. But we got along so well, and just from day one, really. And she's still one of my best friends. In fact, this is how I'm in business, because I worked with her for about I don't know, 5, 6 years.
Yeah.
And she moved to Florida. Um, and she basically said to me, look, you've helped me with this business. All the clients know you, all the clients. She had her clients. I had my clients, but I did help with all of hers.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't want to shut the business down because she had worked so hard to build it. So I kind of she left me the business is
Wow,
really
that's incredible.
how it worked.
I feel like that is such an important thing, like the people who we worked with and also those relationships, like the formative ones. I feel like those are kind of like the foundation for how your business can grow. Like the relationships are so important, is basically.
Honestly, I feel like you can't separate it. You can't separate the relationship with the design because it's so personal. You become so close with the people that you're working with.
Mhm.
And that's really why I continued on with the business. I mean, she had a storefront. I did not want a storefront. I was just too nervous. We had been through 9/11 and, we saw what business could do up and down. And I was just way too nervous. But I loved the relationships and I loved helping our clients and designing. So that's why I continued on with it and it's kind of worked out.
So that was 2000. When did you start? Like, when did she leave?
She left in 2003. So it's
Okay.
been 21 years
Wow.
without, and
Okay.
maybe 5, 6 before that.
And you were doing it that whole time as like a sole business owner.
Well, in '08, when the market crashed, I did go get a retail job, but I never closed the business down. So I always kind of had those relationships and did some design work on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked in '08 for a few years for someone else, for a big company.
Okay.
And then I also worked I guess I went back in 2013 and I worked part-time for another furniture company, but never closed the business down. So I've had
So
literally
it's
had,
still like related though, because the
oh, they were both interior design jobs. Yes.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are
Mhm.
those still playing a role at all in like your business right now, like those experiences that you had?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still have some of my best friends are designers from both of those places.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, kind of just having them to collaborate with and just everywhere you work, you learn something. Every new project, every new company, you just learn something everywhere. So yeah, they really do. And I use them as resources still.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I wanted to ask you a question that I've been thinking a lot about, which is just really what role does empathy in design play for you? And you can answer that like any way you want, but the reason that it's important for me is because I realize that empathy is like a strength when I'm working with clients, right? That I'm actually able to kind of put myself in their shoes versus thinking about the aesthetic or like my aesthetic or the feeling I want to have. I have to think about like what they want to have and what their business wants to have and what their clients want to have. And I'm sure it's kind of it's got to be a similar thing for you. So I just want to like hear about how that plays out in interior design as a service.
Well, I mean, it's really important. You have to ask the right questions to the clients and get a feel for how they live, really, their style, what they want to achieve with their space, um, how they want it to function, if they're a single person, if they're a family, if they're a couple, if they have animals, just so in a way, you're putting yourself into their shoes as far as, well, this is how they want to live. If they want to live this way and they need certain, they have certain requirements, you have to put yourself in their shoes to kind of figure out a good plan for them, a good design plan. You have to, you kind of get a feel, I feel like when you meet someone right away, a little bit about their style,
Mm.
depending on the colors that are in their home or what they're wearing or
Hopefully you don't catch me on the wrong day because
oh, stop it. Stop. No, you really can just get like an immediate um, gut feeling about
oh, that's kind of fun.
just
Like,
their style and how they
yeah.
live. but you do have to understand their needs. And so you do have to kind of relate to them in that way to be able to design a good project for them.
Mm-hmm. What's that term? It's like this beige term that's like that's going around as kind of like a joke where, do you know what it is?
Everything is, no, I don't know.
There's like a joke about beige. I forget what it is. I'm not in on but like on the lingo, but there's some joke about beige being boring, but I forget what it is. Like, I guess beige was like a really big color, and I feel like people just sort of clung to it, as like
Oh, you mean like over the past few years, that
yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah.
grayish trend?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I don't know what the term is though. There's like an actual, I just heard of it recently,
Okay.
a couple times that people bring it up, like, oh, I'm not, it's like a safe color. But I just was curious, like, do you help people kind of lean into their own personality then in their house? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Every client is so different. Everyone likes something different, feels good around certain things. You know, some people like really minimalistic interiors with very subtle colors. Some people like color. Some people like, you know, design to the max. So
Mhm.
you kind of have to learn about the client, what they like, what makes them feel good, because obviously someone's calling you because they want their space to feel good, to function good. They want to feel good in the space.
Mhm.
So you do have to bring what they like into the space for it to be successful, I think.
Yeah, I work with this one photographer, and I think it's Tina Crespo. She's just amazing at helping people lean into their like things they didn't know about themselves in a way, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I think it's really neat because when you get to the end of a photography project, like I've experienced it,
Mm-hmm.
I feel kind of like, oh, like this is what I'm capable of. And I wonder, I bet your clients feel that same way, like where they go into the space and they're like, wow, this is me. Yeah, this is totally me. And I didn't even know it, you know?
And that's a good compliment to get. And I've had a couple clients say to me that their friends have come over and they're like, this house is totally you. And
Oh,
so that makes me feel good because it feels like it kind of feels like I got them. And that's what we achieved with their space. And they feel that it's them too. So,
mhm.
yeah, that's the best outcome, really.
Yeah. So that brings me to my next question, which is, do you tend to lean towards specific color palettes for interiors, and then just kind of like why or why not? And I'm sure that there's like a range, but I'd just love to hear about what your thoughts are on color in general.
I honestly, I think color is the most important thing you have to nail down first, really,
Mhm.
because um, it really dictates the feel of the space. I don't, I don't tend to lean towards one color or another. Like, I don't know that you would look at anything that I've done and say, oh, well, that's definitely, Erica did that, because it really, to me, is really about the client. So it depends on what they like.
Mhm.
But it is really important. I remember a professor in college, one it was a textile class, and she said, whenever you go shopping for clothes, what's the first thing you look for? You look for the color. You
Mhm.
don't look for the size. You don't look for the pattern. You look for what color attracts you, and then you go from there. And I mean, there's tons of studies on color and how it affects your mood and your emotions. And so it's very important, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that that came through when we were doing your brand. Like you were
Mhm.
so good at picking the colors and helping pick the colors, but also like making sure that almost because there's a like three primary colors that are like leaning, they're not
Mhm.
like primary in your face, but they're kind of like there's like yellow, red, and blue.
Mhm.
Well, not
Mhm.
yellow, red, and blue, but and I feel like you kind of covered a really big span of colors just in your brand colors in a way to kind of say like it feels as though you would be able to blend with somebody else's aesthetic, but you have a very strong taste. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's funny because when we were doing that, I didn't think like, what color should I use for my logo that would attract clients? I literally just did what I liked
Yeah.
because it felt like me.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I don't know. I like warm colors, but I can do some. Right now I'm doing a project and it's really icy,
Oh,
so
really?
yeah, which is not what I would normally do for myself, but that's what you do.
That's what she wants. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
got it.
Hmm.
Um, so how does, this is another question, how does the personality of your clients come through in the overall aesthetic, which is kind of like what you're talking about with this icy one, but
Hmm.
um, is that something that, I don't know, can you speak to that? Are there like objects, or like what is it that you use in your design process to kind of bring about their personality other than color, or maybe it's color as well?
It's definitely color. It's the style of things. It's the style of furniture. It's the pattern on the rug, artwork. Um, if you're really well traveled and you've collected a bunch of artwork from wherever you've been, and um, that definitely gets incorporated into your space and makes it feel personal and like that person's life, really.
Yeah, like a
Mhm.
blueprint kind of, or like an imprint of like what they've done in their life in a way.
Yeah, yeah, like just a collection of, their experiences, I guess.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What do you believe to be true about how space can enhance our well-being and moods? I know you kind of already mentioned that, but
Um, yeah, it really can. I mean, everybody knows that, if you walk into a space and it's dark and dingy and cluttered, and even if you're not in this industry, you can kind of feel yourself like tense up,
yeah,
it makes you uncomfortable.
yeah,
Um, so it really makes a difference. That's why you really want your space and your home to be a reflection of you and what comforts you and what makes you happy, because it really does have a direct effect on your well-being. It does. I mean, certain colors, things lower your blood pressure, some colors, keep you le less stressed,
uh-huh.
so it has a direct effect. And there's a million studies about it.
Yeah, so I started to recently, I've been really interested in like, why am I so drawn to images of nature? Because I've painted like the full gamut of different subject matter, like
Yep.
because I've been painting since like 2001. I've been painting watercolors. And I realized like about 10 years ago, I really started to lean into paintings of nature, and then I got into florals, and I just kept doing them. And I knew like one of the reasons why I did it was because I was just trying to have a positive experience in the painting process, but then also like at the end result, like, so you can focus on whatever you want during painting and it's going to produce a different result. And so there were paintings I had, they were kind of like dark in my 20s. Dark for me, but I know it is kind of funny. But at some point I was like, I'm just going to be like, I want to paint what I want to bring into my life. I want to paint
Yep.
like happy things. So recently in the last year, I'm like, so what is it about nature specifically that, like, why am I so drawn to it? And then I came across biophilic design. I think
Biofilm
that's
design. Yep.
yeah. And
Mhm.
I was amazed at the studies of how it like literally can, yeah, like you were talking about, but I'm sure there's other colors and things like from nature that do it, but like reduce your blood pressure and like
Yeah.
actually increase healing. And like, I guess hospitals are aware of this too,
Yep.
because it can help with like the healing process.
Yes.
But then I guess like the funny thing is in my house, I have primarily nature colors and like strong colors. Like I'll have not turquoise, but like light, like celadon and things like
Mhm,
that. And
mhm.
then I have like lots of greens and even like peach tones in my kids' room. But like in my office, it's like that's gray. It's like a warm gray out there. And then like this mauve color in here. And it's like really void of strong colors. And I think it's because I need like clarity or something. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. So
Well, I can't see the gray, but I can see the color behind you, and it really is just very soft.
yeah.
It and it actually is nice because they always say that softer colors like that have that kind of pinky peachy tone to them are good with your complexion. Like they'll say in dining rooms, they're really good to be used in dining rooms
Oh.
for like dimly lit dinner parties. Everyone looks better. So I'm just thinking you look really good when you do videos with that
Oh,
background
thanks.
color.
I didn't, that wasn't intentional. It
Yeah,
was more
no,
like,
no,
how do I want to feel in here? And it like had to be almost like not too strong in a
calming.
sense.
Yep.
Like, yeah. Like my
Mhm.
bedroom is like a dark green and it has to do with how I want to feel, but I don't know enough about it like you do. So that's why I wanted to hear from you.
Well, so even we don't know all the details of the science in the studies, but just saying that, it really does affect every person. You're saying that and you don't know why.
Right.
Scientifically, you don't know why. I don't know why,
Yeah.
but it is true. Yeah, that you
Oh.
and I'm the same with me. I had we moved into this house, it's almost 20 years ago,
Mhm.
and I'm in my office down the basement, and originally I had it like 20 years ago, it was like a yellowy color, this basement. And recently I was like, I can't take this color anymore. It's like, it was irritating me when I was working down here. So I painted it this kind of like icy blue, but it's warm. It's not like a cool. And
Yeah.
same thing. It kind of calms me down when I'm down here. But
And
bringing
promotes like,
nature in does that too.
what's
Like
that?
all your paintings,
Yeah.
that um all your florals and all your leaves and all of your detailed paintings. That's what it is. You're bringing nature in and it's making you feel better. So you're
Yeah.
kind of concentrating on the nature part in the details, but the rest is that kind of background color that's keeps you calm.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up because I forgot to like close that loop, which is that when I was researching it, I came across that it like literally, yeah, it enhances your mood, and so that's probably why I'm even doing it. Like it all is just about me feeling good, but also making other people feel good too. Like
There
in the
you
process,
go.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and I was so curious too about your personal preferences when it comes to like motifs and design because I love interior design. I like play interior designer. I'm not an interior designer at all. And I totally value I love looking at your images and how you take like clients' ideas and make it like all come together. I have such a great appreciation for that. And I just wondered, how do you decide on motifs or like what are some things that you are thinking about when you're thinking about patterns and interiors? And do you have any advice for people on how to incorporate more of that into their interior spaces?
Um, well, I feel like one question I always ask at in the beginning is how do they feel about prints? I do ask that.
Mhm.
Some people are, and I don't necessarily mean colorful, bright prints, just either or. Like that would be the question. Do you like florals? Do you like stripes? Do you like geometrics?
Mhm.
Or do you prefer something kind of like a tone on tone print? Or some people will say, I don't want any print. I just like solids with a little bit of texture for interest. And then we would work from there. Some people you can tell by again like how they dress. I have one client and she is so stylish,
Mhm.
and I actually have a lot of clients that are stylish, but I'm thinking of two specifically, and one is really glitzy glam, and her house is glitzy glam, like it really is.
Mhm.
um and she would do a pattern anywhere. She would do a pattern everywhere. And you can tell by the way she dresses,
Yeah. Yeah.
So some people are really open to it. Some people are not. And again, it just depends. But some people feel strongly about that question. They're like, well, I don't want a lot of pattern, or, I'd like it to feel calm. And it can feel calm with pattern. It
Mhm.
can. It
Mhm.
just is going to go back to the color then and the amount of pattern and how you mix it.
Like the contrast of
A
it.
contrast.
Yeah.
Yep. Like even for bedding, a lot of people, I feel like maybe 20 years ago, we did a lot of prints on the bed. We did um, the custom bedding with a duvet, or years ago, a bedspread. And it was a pattern really. And I feel like it's changed. So now when I'll ask someone about that, like, do you want a print on your bed? Do you want just some pillows with some print? And we'll do some more subtle bedding, like a hotel bedding, or just a textured tone on tone. So
Mhm.
people do react to that. They feel strong. They know where they want print and know where they don't.
Mm, okay. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, you can kind of talk them into, and I don't want to say talk them into, but you can open their eyes about how it might look better if we did something here or there. And most people are open to it.
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like people have strong preferences about prints.
I think it really is a statement and it is a balance. It's not like an easy thing to achieve. Like I did that installation where I was just incorporating the one wallpaper I did.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And it was such a good experience for me to do it, just to be able to see like how do you even incorporate wallpaper and how do you make it work? Because if it's too strong, it does get busy. And so there's like fun ways to do it in like small, I did it on like the side of a dresser, or
Yeah.
I did like the little framed crown molding on the wall
Yes.
just inside the frame, not outside of it, so that you could have, it could be like almost like a piece of art itself,
Mhm.
you know.
And again, that's totally you. That's your personality. Some people would say, let's paper all four walls and the ceiling and
Whoa.
do like a print on the floor, like a tile pattern on the floor. Like
Yeah.
it just depends on the client. So you can incorporate print in a lot of different ways. I love a print. I love textile design. So I
Yeah.
love to incorporate that. Even if it's subtly.
Yeah. I love the one image of the bedroom with the twin beds and
Oh, I know you love that. Yes.
and I
I mean,
know that was a
honestly,
design problem because like not that your client, like some of it was there already, or how did you do that? Like,
she's so stylish, that client. And she actually, that was really a collaboration. Like she kind of knew what she wanted. She found that bedding on her own.
mhm,
And she even knew what headboard she wanted. We went back and forth about it,
mhm.
but in her head, she knew she wanted that black lacquer and she wanted that. She loves prints, she loves color. So she loved that bedding. And then honestly, in that room, I did, we incorporated bringing in other cut. Like I love the turquoise dresser with it and then the green lamp. Like it just kind of brought
Yes.
everything
Yes.
together.
Yeah. Those
But
subtle
yeah, so
things
she
make
did
it.
have some of those. Oh, she purchased some of those specifically for that room, but they were her purchases. Yeah.
And then there was art too that matched it. Did
Yeah,
you?
the art was good. Yeah, that
Yeah.
was good.
Yeah. So that was a collaboration. See, I think that that's what makes it so special, being able to collaborate with people, because it's like you would never create these things on your own, but it's really probably fun to bring other people's personality through and create something that you never would have created on your own, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I love to collaborate. I really do. I prefer to do that versus, come in and just do the whole thing on your own. I mean, that's great too, but it's
Yeah.
nice to have some input, to use some things that they already own or they already love or they're wishing they can incorporate, because I feel like it makes a better project in the end. I really
Yeah.
do.
It gives you a starting point. It gives you like a problem to solve. And then like direction too, I feel like. Cause
Some
I,
direction, and it's very personal to anyway, but they feel like it's really personal because they had a hand in it.
yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
that's so fun.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see what you're working on next. And I just appreciate you for
Oh,
sharing. So, how do people work with you now? Like, what does that look like if somebody wanted to work with you?
um, well, I think I'm only on Instagram and my website that you
Mhm.
did, we still have some stuff to I still have to
It's
get some
always
images to you. It's a
growing
work
and
in
changing.
progress.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just my name, Erica Kidwell Interior Design, on Instagram and my website. Mm.
Awesome. I'll definitely share links to that. And they like you do one-on-one consults, right? And then like full custom interiors. Like there's like a few different ways people can hire you right now.
Yeah, so it's kind of broken down into I'm sorry, I interrupted. Say it again.
No, no, that was it.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of broken down into three ways to work. So we can do strictly consulting. Um, we can do a full service, which is really just the whole space.
Mhm.
And we can also do integrated design, which is probably the most popular. It's a lot of refreshes and using what you have, but then incorporating some new things too. Um, and so, yeah, you can work any one of those three ways.
Okay. And a
Mhm.
consult looks like what? Like, how does that work?
An initial consult for any of those three is usually about 90 minutes, basically going to the client's house, talking about their needs, and what they want to. A consult usually is really for advice, and
Mhm.
then they're going to kind of take the ball and run and do it. So what we'll get a plan together. I come back and I'll email you everything that we spoke about and direction and steps to the step
Resources.
to execute it really.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that was really insightful. I really appreciate your time and
Oh, thank you. Thanks for doing this. I
yeah.
appreciate it.
All right. I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.